I hated being black. Let's dive into this. I saw a video of someone mentioning their ethnicity and how they hated it. I am Hispanic. I'm Latina. I am Puerto Rican. That's how I identify. And I even did not want to identify as Puerto Rican at one point of my life. When I was younger, around the age of 8, I moved to Puerto Rico because my parents thought it would be better for our family to be there. Before I knew any Spanish, I moved over there. Some words here and there, by no means fluent, and I would hear a lot of commentary of, and this is low key bullying, okay, that they would call me negra, la negra, like, but that's something that is endearing in the Latin culture, the Hispanic culture in Puerto Rico. It's like a nickname, okay? But to me, I found that offensive because I was like, they're calling me Blackie. And I'm just like, this is not nice. I don't like this. I don't identify as that. They're not calling me or like helping me at all without judging me for my outward appearance. And that was so sad. Just growing up, my family, I'm the only dark one because my biological father is of African American descent. So I am over here with my family who are looking more like Tainos, like Indians from Puerto Rico, mixed kind of white passing. And I'm over here, the only black one in the family. So, of course, they're going to think my siblings are not my siblings simply because of the color of their skin versus mine and the color that I don't identify as is such a big thing for me because even in school when I'm having these conversations or telling them that my sibling that's my sibling, they're low-key questioning because they're kids and they don't know. I feel that this was such a challenge for me growing up because they would see other like employees of the school or they would see like reggaetoneros and they would be like, is that your dad? Just because they were black. That was so sad to me. And because I come from the South Bronx as well, I had a distorted view of how black people were and how black people carried themselves. And then after I was living in Puerto Rico, I only had a distorted view based on the media of what black people were. So I did not want to identify with that. I was like, this is not me. I'm not black. At one point, I wasn't identifying as black. I wasn't identifying as Puerto Rican. I was simply me. And that came with a lot of just not being able to identify with the culture fully. It took me getting to college to accept and to explain to people in a predominantly white school that I was Puerto Rican, even though I'm black. They only knew me by my first name mostly. They wouldn't see that my last name was a Hispanic one. To have to educate was a challenge in itself. But I found a new sense of pride after being in that situation and being able to explain to them certain cultures. And mind you, don't date me on this, but this was like around the time that Despacito came out, that I was like in college. So you can only imagine the pride that I said that I had with just like explaining to them these songs and translating it for them because it had just came out and how it was like going viral and that's what we were gonna be hearing at the parties and whatnot. But dude, the media really makes you think the enemy is yourself. And that in itself is insanity. And as I'm growing up and as I'm seeing all these political things going on, sometimes we are our own enemy. We are not helping each other in community, and we're always perceiving ourselves as being worse than each other. But that is all strategically placed because of a system that we're a part of. And it's so sad to think that I used to hate myself because of how I looked, but it was because I didn't have immediate people around me to relate to. And we're in American territory. So whatever is going to exist here, low-key exists over there too. And it's so sad to think that we're still going through all these problems because there is just so much potential in community when you allow yourself to be educated in a nice, sincere way. A lot of the friends I have are not black. I'm only now as an adult getting to make more black friends. And when I was in college, I used to see how we used to congregate and sometimes not congregate with are people of color. And it's so important that we do because I see that there's only things that you can understand when other people also understand those struggles and can come together to fix certain things within our society that needs fixing. But they also need people who understand that struggle, set up environments where we can feel safe and voice our opinions. Because I feel like that's still a struggle for so many of us. There is so much that we need to learn from each other, but we need to allow for spaces to be able to do that. There's so many things that you're not going to understand about me simply because you're not the color that I am. Being a New Yorker, being in a space where, yes, this is one of the most diverse cities that you're going to have, but there's also just so much judgment that is passively aggressively passed, and you're judged simply by the way that you look. And I know this goes for other ethnicities too, other races, but just being black and being from here and knowing that I belong here because I was a born citizen to the United States. I am not here not doing anything that anybody else is doing that is illegal. Like, I'm simply just existing, and by simply existing, I've had instances where I've been stopped by the police simply because of the way that I look, to be checked, to be looked through my stuff simply because of the way that I look. And that is very sad. And I hope that eventually we get to a place where we don't have to have these fears, because I feel like that really creates some resentment and fear around who our authorities are and what they are told to do and by who they are told to do those things to. Like, there is so much. But now I can confidently say I don't hate being black. I don't hate being Puerto Rican. I really despise the media and whatever we have been taught to make us think that way. That's what I don't like. And I'm glad that where I am today can see that. And I hope that if you ever have felt this way, you know that you're not the only one that did. And that's okay because you are a learning and growing person. And so I am learning and growing, and to learn more about my culture and why we are the way we are and why there is such a system that exists still to this day that is still evolving and needs people to fight for it. So I just wanted to share my 2 cents on that. And yeah, love you, whoever you are, wherever you are.